Picture this. It's payday. You move £50 into your savings account and for about 4 hours, you feel like you've got your life together. Then your car makes a weird noise. Or your boiler decides today's the day it's going to die. Or your mate texts you about a weekend away that you can't miss. And that £50 plus whatever was already in there is gone by Sunday. You tell yourself you'll start again next month. And you do. And the exact same thing happens again. 6 months later, you've technically tried to save 6 separate times and your balance is still sitting at basically nothing. Here's the thing. That's not a you problem. That's a maths and psychology problem. And once you understand what's actually going on, it changes everything about how you save from this point forward. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about why some people build wealth almost effortlessly, while others work just as hard and never seem to get anywhere. If you're someone who's tried to save money before but kept dipping back into it the moment life threw something your way, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you out. Now, on paper, this makes no sense. £10,000 is 10 times as much as £1,000. By pure logic, it should take 10 times the effort, 10 times the discipline, 10 times the sacrifice. But if you actually ask people who've built real savings, not people guessing, people who've lived it, almost every single one of them will tell you the same thing. The first £1,000 was brutal. The next £10,000 came almost on autopilot. Look, I used to think this was just a matter of motivation. Like, people get excited once they see progress, so obviously it feels easier. And sure, that's part of it, but there's actual maths and psychology behind this, and when you put the two together, it explains almost perfectly why so many people get stuck at zero forever. Here's what most people don't realise. This isn't a small problem affecting a handful of unlucky people. Research from the UK's Money and Pensions Service has found that a large share of adults, roughly 4 in 10, wouldn't be able to cover an unexpected bill of a few £100s without borrowing or seriously struggling. Separate data from the FCA's Financial Lives survey has shown that millions of UK adults are sitting with less than £100 to their name at any given time. Read that again. Not zero savings because they're low income and can't possibly save. Millions of people across every income bracket stuck at basically nothing on repeat. Year after year. That's not a discipline crisis. That's a systems crisis. And understanding the difference is exactly what's going to get you out of it. Let's actually break down the numbers because this is where it gets really interesting. Say you're trying to save £1,000 from a standing start. You've got no buffer. That means every single unexpected cost, and I mean every single one, comes directly out of either your savings or your future income. Car repair, £180, dentist bill you didn't budget for, £90, even something as small as your phone contract going up by a £5 a month. None of that has anywhere else to go. It eats directly into the exact money you're trying to save. So you might put away £300 over 2 months and then one bad week wipes out £250 of it. You're not actually failing to save, you're saving and unsaving in a loop that never lets the number grow. Now compare that to someone trying to go from £1,000 to £11,000. They've already got that first £1,000 sitting there as a buffer. So when the car repair comes in at £180, it doesn't touch their savings goal at all. It just gets absorbed by the buffer or by that month's spending money, but because they've built the habit of separating spending from saving already. Their new contributions keep compounding without getting reset to zero every few weeks. Here's a simple way to see it. If you're saving £150 a month with zero buffer, and roughly every third month an unexpected cost of £150 hits and comes straight out of your savings, your real annual progress isn't £1,800. It's closer to £1,200 because a third of your contributions just got cancelled out. But once you've got that £1,000 buffer in place, the same £150 a month keeps compounding without interruption. Plus, and this is the part people miss, you can actually start putting it somewhere that earns interest or investment growth because you're not worried about needing instant access to it anymore. That's the moment saving stops being a fight and starts being math working in your favour. Now let's talk about what's happening in your head because the maths only tells half the story. There's a concept in behavioural finance called mental accounting. Basically, your brain doesn't treat all money the same, even though logically £1 is £1 no matter where it sits. When your savings balance is small, like £150, £300, £600, your brain files that money under money I haven't spent yet, not money that's actually mine to protect. It hasn't earned emotional significance. So the second something tempting or urgent shows up, there's basically no psychological resistance to raiding it. But somewhere around that £1,000 mark, something shifts. Your brain starts recategorizing that money. It stops being spare cash sitting in an account and starts becoming your emergency fund and is an actual asset with a job to do. And once money has a job, you become far more protective of it, almost without consciously deciding to be. There's also something psychologists call the fresh start effect, which explains why so many people restart their savings attempts in January on their birthday or on the first of the month, full of motivation, and then quietly give up a few weeks later. Motivation's a terrible long-term strategy because motivation runs on emotion, and emotion is inconsistent by definition. The people who actually build wealth aren't relying on motivation at month 18. They built a system back in month 1 that doesn't need motivation to keep functioning. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Nick, that sounds nice, but I've tried systems before and I still end up dipping into my savings. Here's why that usually happens. The system wasn't actually removing the decision. It was just adding an extra step to the same decision. If your savings are sitting in the same current account you spend from with the exact same app, one tap away, that's not a system, that's just savings with a slightly annoying extra click. Real systems create actual friction and actual distance between you and the money. Think of it like pushing a car that's run out of petrol. The first few feet are agonizing. You're putting in maximum effort for almost no visible movement. That's your first £1,000, but once that car gets rolling, once there's momentum, it takes way less force to keep it moving, and eventually it's rolling almost on its own. That's the £10,000 stage. The car isn't lighter, you're not stronger. The physics change because momentum did the work that pure effort used to have to do alone. Saving works exactly the same way. The first bit is all friction. Once you've built momentum, a real buffer, a real habit, a real system, the maths and the psychology both start working with you instead of against you. So here's exactly what to do with all of this. First, open a separate savings account at a different bank from your main current account. Not a different pot in the same app. A genuinely separate institution. That extra friction of having to actively transfer between banks is often the difference between I'll just move £50 back for the weekend and actually leaving it alone. Second, automate a transfer for the day you get paid. Even if it's a stupidly small amount to start, £10, £20, whatever you can genuinely not miss. The goal at this stage isn't the amount, it's removing the decision entirely, so willpower is never required. Third, spend 1 month actually tracking where your money goes, down to the pound. Most people are saving in their heads and leaking in reality. Subscriptions they forgot about, a coffee habit that's quietly £40 a month, a delivery app that adds up to more than their entire savings goal. You can't fix a leak you haven't found. Fourth, treat the first £1,000 as a finish line worth celebrating because psychologically it is one. Once you hit it, don't touch it and don't slow down. Increase your automated transfer slightly and let the system that got you here keep running. And here's the part that should really change how you think about this, that first £1,000 isn't just a number. It's the thing standing between you and high-interest debt. Every time an emergency hits someone with zero buffer, the most common outcome isn't they didn't spend that month, it's they put it on a credit card. And once that happens, next month's income isn't just about building savings to cover mortgages, it's about paying off last month's emergency plus interest while also trying to save. That's not twice as hard. That's a completely different, much steeper game. The first £1,000 is what keeps you out of that game entirely. So if you're sitting there right now with basically nothing saved and it feels like you're the only one who can't make this work, you're not. Millions of people are in exactly the same position for exactly the same reasons. The difference between staying there and getting out isn't more willpower. It's building one small system today that doesn't need willpower to keep running tomorrow. Get that first £1,000 in place, protect it like it's already spoken for, and I promise you the next £10,000 will not feel like the same fight. If this video helped you see your own savings differently, subscribe, drop a like, and let me know in the comments what you're going to automate this week. I'll see you in the next one.